Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Hella Schwartz-Grossman, Marketing Manager at Worldox. And before we begin, this session will be recorded. Everyone is in listen-only mode, but any questions you may have, please type them into the question pane, and we'll address them at the end of the webinar. Today, we are joined by Leaflet, and I'm excited to introduce our speakers. Sam Muthusamy, founder and CEO, Justin Pounds, products, Tom Daniels, sales and client advocacy. Sam has over 20 years of experience in the software product development industry with extensive expertise in building automated technology solutions and software products that have resulted in successful sales and mergers. He has been a core member of several startup companies. Prior to Leaflet Corporation, as a founding member and VP of Engineering at Brightleaf, Sam led the design and development of Brightleaf's document automation platform. He also worked at Hemscott Prio, where he led the development of highly scalable, web-based data automation projects for well-known clients in the financial services sector. He has extensive experience in developing, implementing, and supporting software products in diverse technologies, industries, and building robust, extensible connectors with leading ERPs, CRMs, and document management systems and service bureaus. Justin is a seasoned combatant in the arena of legal technology. An engineer at heart, Justin enjoys designing and implementing systems to improve processes and increase efficiency. He seeks out challenges and delves into opportunities to ameliorate the world around him. His expertise working with tech and his experience as an attorney give him the insight needed to deliver solutions that work for everyone involved. Justin holds a Juris Doctor from Northeastern University School of Law and a Bachelor's of Science from the University of Texas at Dallas. Outside of Leaflet, Justin can be found reviewing batteries and building small-scale solar generators. And Dom has 30 years experience in the legal, financial, and healthcare industries. He has worked with the largest law firms and corporate legal department across the globe, understanding business problems and identifying technology solutions is key to his success. Dom has worked directly and indirectly for Microsoft, Cisco, Aderant, HBR Consulting, and Thomson Reuters. His role at Leaflet Corporation is to help law firms and corporate legal departments streamline document and contract automation to provide better service to their clients and redesign their internal processes for drastic time and money savings. And now I will hand it over to Justin, who will take us off and show us what Leaflet can do.
Good afternoon or morning, depending on your time zone, possibly evening. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about what contract and document automation mean in terms of integration with the document management system, what you should be looking for in contract and document automation, and give a demonstration of how Leaflet solves some of the problems that we discuss. So what is legal document automation? And we say legal document automation, but really it could be any type of document automation. And, I am kind of a nerd, so I focus on things like the meaning of a document or a copyrighted object in terms of the legal definition. So an original work of authorship fixed in a tangible medium of expression. Taking any of those aspects and then fixating them, or fixing them, I should say. And so when we say document automation, what we mean is taking the pieces of a document, taking all of those tiny components that make your work a work of authorship, that make it creative, that make it functional, and then moving them around, using them as a toolbox to provide you with everything you need to complete a process, whether that process is a transaction, a contract between two or more parties, or whether that process is an affidavit in support of something, or a record. all of that comes under the sphere of document automation. So we're talking about really three major components. The first, the creation of forms or templates. Then leveraging those forms to create documents to engage in transactions. And then finally, extending those forms to collaborate with clients, coworkers, and anyone who might have information that needs to go into the system. And that anyone can include databases. So we're not just talking about human intake, but we're also talking about pulling information from connected systems. Now, why should organizations use automation? Well, A, it increases efficiency. I'm not going to go through every reason on the slide, but the really key factors that we're talking about here are doing more, using less resources. We've seen, especially in the last year, that things can really hit the fan quite quickly. The way we work can be disrupted. Who we work with can change in an instant. And so having tools that exist outside of the human process, having tools that can work automatically with little input, reduce the risk and reduce the harm that comes when we face these type of disruptions. What we want to do with Leaflet is focus on higher value work for attorney time. That means less reviewing documents to ensure that our NDAs are compliant with organizational policy, and more time spent researching force majeure in the wake of a global economic collapse. So, and a long story short, why should firms or organizations use automation? Well, you increase efficiency, you focus on higher value work, you improve accuracy, and you ensure compliance. Now, there are a couple of characteristics that we see in automation, and I think those are super important to discuss. In fact, Hilla, if I could have you run our second polling question right now, which is, I'm kind of going out of order, I'm sorry, I apologize. Yes, so we have a poll open, and that question is, what do you think the most important features in a document automation system are? Or what do you think is the most important feature in a document automation system? And I will talk about these a little bit, so if you want to take your time and think about the answer, you can do that. But the first thing we have listed are clause libraries. So clause libraries are basically a playbook. As an attorney, what I found in my practice is that I will capture exemplar language from documents or transactions that I work with, and I will keep those in a folder and an organized table structure and use those when I want just specific language for a specific scenario or when I'm working with a specific client. So those clause libraries can be stored in a document automation system like we do in Leaflet, or they can be external tools. There are also e-signature integrations. DocuSign, as I'm sure everyone in this call knows, had a massive boom when we all went remote. And the integration with these systems as a part of your document workflow can be an important tool in automation. No coding automation, meaning that anyone in your organization is capable of creating a template or maintaining a template. Now, this kind of is self-explanatory, but what we've seen on the document automation vendor side is when you can give an attorney the ability or a tool to edit their own documents, it reduces turn time and it increases adoption. And then finally, oh, we've already lost the poll. Sorry, I was too slow. Do we have the results for that? Okay, let's see. Oh, this is very small. Okay, we're tied at clause libraries and no coding automation. I agree. My answer would have been all of the above, but of course we didn't give you that answer. I personally like the clause library. I can code. Coding isn't a big deal for me. So whether I have to use a coding system or not, what I can't make up out of the air is a clause library. It's something that is, I think, essential to the practice of law. It's something that you see in every practicing attorney, whether they're getting their forms from precedent work or whether it's, that piecemeal system. Everyone is using some type of clause library. Now, another key component that we should seek in legal automation is being able to holistically do a transaction. So automation is useless if you have to repeat the same task more than once. So unless a system can handle complex multi-document transactions, unless that data can be stored and used for amendments or renewals, you're really limiting what you can do with your automation. So this is kind of our overview of document automation and how you can leverage document automation. Now we're going to go to the Leaflet document automation platform. So here we find ourselves in a Leaflet microsite. Microsites are contract portals or document portals. They can be used to start document workflows, or as you can see, they can be used for single document generation. Here, we're just going to grab a master service agreement. Now, we'll fill in only a few fields in this agreement for the sake of time. Grab a zip code. Oops, that's a state. And we'll do a state of Washington. Now, we'll also add some authorized signatories. I'm going to give myself a promotion because I think it's cool. And then we'll have Dom as our other party. I'm also going to give him a promotion. Congratulations, Dom, you're now the general counsel. Now, in these web forms or questionnaires, we can ask a variety of different questions. These forms can be used as both intake forms. So if you're creating a client-facing portal or a public microsite, you can actually allow any user to fill in information. Or you can permission control down to the very question level, determining who and when each user can see each question in the system. We can do an effective date. We can look at payment terms. We can even add variable information in those payment terms. We can choose our period of time for records retention. And then we can select from built-in or customizable lists within the system. And we'll see how all of this is made shortly. I'm going to skip through the rest of these questions and we'll go to the document generation. Here we can name our document. Now, Leaflet also has the ability to append document date and timestamps and keep versioning. So we'll just call this master services AG. So now we've generated our agreement. There are a couple of things that we want to look at. First, the ability to view summary. Now we can check and view every field that we've input in the questionnaire to make sure our information was input properly and that all of our data matches. Without having to go through and search the terms in the document, we can know for sure that all of our fields were filled in properly. Another thing we can do is immediately send that document for e-signature if we're comfortable. I can provide an email for Dom, an email for any other party, and I can provide a carbon copy email in case I want to send it to another party outside the transaction or to a matter management system that is keeping record of all of the deal data. So I can hit submit, and then our current account is connected to DocuSign. So what would happen is I'll receive a DocuSign email and we could navigate through that e-signature process. Now, here we have a few more options technically. Download, email, if we wanted to just email the document without going through the e-signature process. Preview, to see all the fields highlighted in the document. And then my personal favorite, customize. So what customize is the ability to work with the document with automation in native Word. So here we can see our document name with our appended date and timestamp. We can see the document as we've created it with Acme Corp and Beta Corp. We can check the fields that we've added for our payment terms and our record retention period. And we can make any changes we want to this document because we're working on that document in Word. So let's say Section C in our labor, materials, supplies, and services isn't relevant for this transaction. Well, I can remove it because again, I'm working in my native workflow. I'm working with the document with all of the tools that I normally have. At the same time, all of my variables can be changed and I can see those changes live in the document. So if we change our choice of law to the state of Washington, I can see that change and any other fields that might be connected to that change. And then finally, I can take advantage of my favorite tool in Leaflet. So we're doing favorite on favorite, customize, and then the clause library. So the clause library allows me to leverage that database of clauses that I've retained and search for a force majeure paragraph. See that this language, this short form language, is far better than what I was thinking or what is previously in this document. And then being able to insert that language live into the document. So here we can use our clause library. We can search and determine by any number of libraries, whether it's an organization-wide library, a specific legal department library, or even libraries built around single partners in the firm. I can search by document type, by clause type, and I can search by tags. I can also see individual notes. So if this clause was pulled from an agreement in 2017, maybe the force majeure language isn't as strong as something that was created in 2021. The clause library allows you to leverage institutional knowledge and bring it to bear in the document immediately, and it's a really cool tool to do so. Now, we can also add documents to the transaction, meaning we can cover an entire transaction with just one questionnaire pane. And the questionnaire pane will obviously grow, but again, automation means only doing a process once rather than multiple times. And again, as we're working in native Word, we have the ability to do anything else because the Leaflet toolbar is omnipresent and we can access our automation pieces right within any document that you open. So let's close out of this and then go behind the scenes and see how the sausage is made. And while we transition, can we run poll question 1, which is how many of you are using document automation in your organization? All right. So it's a quick poll. It's going to be up for 1 minute, yes or no, if you're using document automation, and we'll even count mail merges. So very simple automation. If you're using automation at all, please select yes. If not, please select no. In the meantime, I'm going to open up a template.
Let me know when you're ready for me to close the poll.
I am ready.
Okay, I will close it now. And do you want me to share?
Yes, please.
Here we go.
Okay, so the majority of you are not using automation, which is a shame because automation is awesome. That's why we're here. But maybe it's a blessing in disguise because, again, we're here and we're talking about automation and what Leaflet offers as far as automation is concerned. So this is a template. You might recognize the interface. Again, we're in Microsoft Word, but we have a few more options available on the toolbar. These are our Leaflet components, and this is how we use our no programming automation to automate a template. Now you'll notice that this template is entirely marked up. This is a demonstration template and we use it a lot, but it shows how quickly and easily we can add in fields in Leaflet. So the first thing I want to look at is this company name. Here we have a party to the agreement. We have a couple of ways to add an element for a party. We could create a contact field, which could capture multiple pieces of information simultaneously, or we can create a simple text replacement field. I'm going to use text because it's a little quicker, and we can say here, company name. Then we'll see the question that we're asking the user. Now, questions are super important when you're building a questionnaire because you have a target audience in mind. I may know company name means the company who is the non-Leaflet company in this transaction, but if Dom or another member of Leaflet's team is filling out this agreement, they might think Leaflet needs to be company name and the other party is the partner. So in this case, I can say, what is the name of the other party? I can clarify my question, or if I've already created a question in the system, I can actually pull in that question and not have to repeat the wheel. Again, automation means never having to do the same process more than once. If this is a transaction that I'm doing a lot or there are default language values, I can put that default text in. I can also provide guide text. So I can say, please provide the full legal name. That way, the user knows that they need to include incorporated, LLC, limited. And with that, I've already used this element. We'll call this company name Acme. We can very easily create an automated field. We can see this automated field in our questionnaire, and we can make changes to it to test it live. Now, let's look at our next field. Here, we have a jurisdiction, a state. In this case, why not use a standard list? We know all 50 states, so we could say, where is the company incorporated? And then we can choose from lists that we have available. In this case, we'll grab our legal states list. We don't need any guide text here because it's a simple list. And again, we can test that live in the document using the questionnaire and see exactly how it would appear, all of the formatting and all the systems. Now, I can hear it in the back. This is super simple automation. What about the hard stuff? Can you do that without coding? Absolutely. So we've created a name and we've created a state. What if we wanted to use those two values to derive whether or not a paragraph should be in an agreement? Now, this is something we see a lot in California and more developing in Colorado, where the presence of an individual in California or Colorado might need to trigger additional language or additional processing. Obviously, with GDPR, whenever you're using an agreement with a European citizen or Canadian citizen, you might have different writers or language that you need to put in that agreement as well. So how would we do that type of logic? Well, we can create what we call a derived clause. So clauses in Leaflet are logical operators. They can be binary switches, appear or disappear. They can be default options that are selected by users. They can be multi-select in any combination thereof. Or again, they can derive their value from other fields that have been given. So in this case, we'll call this derived by state. Now, in our options, we have a basic appear or disappear. Call this appear. Now we can do our condition, and then we can set the logic for when this language should appear in the document. So under my rules, I can say, what is the name of the other party? If it is equal to Acme Inc. And where is the company incorporated? If the company is incorporated in the state of Colorado or California, then this language appears. And it's that simple. The most complicated process in automation, taking a derived value, is done in seconds with no knowledge of coding. If you can formulate the logical expression, if you can say, these are my two requirements, then you can create that clause in Leaflet. And that's how we can take the most complicated processes and reduce them to a simple questionnaire or wizard. Now, again, we can do the same thing where we add multiple documents to complete an entire transaction off of this one questionnaire. We can also use template settings. And what template settings allow us to do is drive many different functions. Personally, I like the one-to-many function. We see this a lot in agreements like share purchase agreements or fund creation agreements, where you'll have one document that needs to go out to a number of different parties with slight variations on that party information. Maybe they're only buying a different percentage or offering a different percentage, obtaining a different percentage of shares, their investment is a little smaller, or they have a different position within the company. Well, we can create a contact and use that one-to-many and drive that off of that contact to create many versions of the document for every contact that's added. We can also create what's called a deal data template. This is used in Leaflet's automated workflows. So sometimes you're starting with a term sheet and you don't actually need that document to be generated and put into anything other than the file at the end of the process. You're not sending that out for e-sign, you're just collecting data and then you're using that to kick off a workflow or a process. So by selecting deal data template, we can actually automatically do that intake process and then trigger documents down the line that follow based on the selections that you've made. Kind of a derived clause, but instead of within a document, doing it to an entire workflow. And then the last is hidden. So many times we want to capture metadata about an agreement without necessarily having those terms in the agreement. Is hidden allows us to attach a hidden document to a questionnaire. So when we generate and send that package out for e-sign, we're not sending the hidden document or that metadata that we've captured. We're only sending the contract that needs to be signed by the other party. So this is the template factory in all its glory. Here, we can use the clause library, we can add to the clause library, and then we can do one other cool thing, which is concepts. Concepts are a new way of building a template. So we've had requests from customers and we've listened and we've developed a way that you can create paragraphs or clauses that have one source of truth, meaning you can edit this clause in one location and it filters through every template or document that's in the system. Every new document will have this new exemplar. You don't need to go through all of your documents to do updates. You can create one source of truth for those clauses. So you can sort by document type, and then you can sort by the language that's in that document type, and you can build clause concepts. Those concepts can be inserted into the document, and again, they can be manipulated in one central location, and that filter down through every template that you have. Now, there's one more place I want to take you. That is the Leaflet factory. So leaflets are the web-based questionnaire with which we started. Leaflets can be created off of a template. They can be created technically without a template to kickstart web-based workflows, but they're much cooler when you see them with a template. And the reason is because we can create as many leaflets as you want from one template. That means we can entirely define and customize a user's experience generating a document. If you want a version of the questionnaire that's entirely in Spanish, we can speak Spanish. We can change the question text. Instead of saying effective date, I don't know enough Spanish to say that. That's a very bad example. Let's grab one that I can do in Spanish. Nope. Okay, I shouldn't have used Spanish as an example. But we can change the question text I do speak legalese. So rather than saying effective date, we can say what is the signature date. That way, it's more clear to the user exactly the question that we're asking. We can also permission control questions. Let's say some people maybe shouldn't be given the ability to change payment terms. Well, let's restrict payment terms to individuals that have a certain active directory listing status or higher. That way, we can say department heads can change payment terms, but maybe the summer intern, doesn't have the ability to set net 95. Now, there's another cool thing we can do in the questionnaire, which is external system data mapping. So here we can map any external database that uses an API system to Leaflet and to individual Leaflet questions. So for example, I can grab Clio or Worldox. Then I can add mapping to those fields. So I can grab from the matters table, and in my questionnaire, let's grab company name. I can map that to that matters table in any fields that are available in that table. So whatever metadata that is captured in Worldox or Clio or any other integrated system, Salesforce, we can capture and use in automation. Again, automation means never having to input the same field more than once. So if you've input it there, if you've captured it, why not use it automatically? Why not leverage that? Save yourself time, energy, and reduce the risk of non-compliant documents or errors. Here, we can do another type of metadata capture. So rather than having a form that generates a document, why not just have a form that brings in metadata for these systems? So you could submit the document and submit metadata to be captured, and it's all stored with your internal contracting system. It's all stored as metadata with the document in Worldox, and you have everything you need in one central location. As you can tell, I'm kind of passionate about this. I love the Leaflet Factory. I think the opportunity for customization really is such a powerful tool to make generating documents accessible, to make the legal process more accessible, and to remove attorneys from the minutia that fills up most of our days. Frankly, negotiating NDAs, low-level MSAs, these are things that are not high-value work. And there are areas that are, attorneys deal with a lot of fires, IT deals with a lot of fires, and being able to have more time to focus on the fires and fire prevention as opposed to these kind of day-to-day mundane items is a really helpful part of the process. One last thing, we can publish these questionnaires to any number of microsites, and microsites are those contract portals that we saw earlier. So you could create a contract portal that is entirely public, that allows your users, your clients, contemporaries to generate a certain set number of documents or start workflows kicking data back to you. Or you can create internal working portals where users can connect to SharePoint or Teams to generate their documents, have them again kicked in through back to Worldox or their workflow system, and then finally end up where they need to go. All of these things, all of these customizations and tools are available to you for use in Leaflet. So I appreciate everyone's time this afternoon. I'm going to kick it back to the slides and just end with a couple of inspirational statements. Live, laugh, love. Automation can change the way you practice law. Do we have any questions?
Let me see if we got questions in. Yes, I do have one. Someone asked, do you see firms moving toward cloud solutions, or are most of Leaflet users still on-prem?
So I think we've seen a lot of firms actually take a hybrid approach. So personal cloud or private cloud is becoming very popular where firms are building their own cloud infrastructure behind their firewalls. We personally, and I think the movement of a lot of our contemporaries, is to go much more heavily cloud focused. Cloud gives us a lot more opportunity to provide advanced features, service, and support, and greater connectivity. Whereas on-prem, you deal with a lot of issues of connected integrations, having to build outside connectors to tools like eSign to come back into systems. So I know for the Leaflet side, we prefer cloud. We're seeing a lot of firms heading to that private cloud. But I think the majority of our users are still actually on-prem. New users typically do sign up for cloud though.
Okay, all right. Let's see. I have one question here. Do you consider Leaflet to be a contract management system? Because the asker sees this as a great solution to store clauses and perform assembly of documents.
So Leaflet is many things. I'm gonna actually come out of Leaflet and just sign out here so you can see. So Leaflet is a modularized system. We have templates factory, microsites with the contract portals, Draft Live, which is using that tool in Word, but also contract lifecycle management. So when we think about the pieces that form a document or template or agreement, that's all data. It's all functional and usable and capturable. So yes, we do allow users to leverage some of those pieces in contract management, generating contract intelligence reports to see exactly the key terms that are in your agreements, or leveraging those terms to automatically generate amendments or run compliance management. So seeing if an agreement has been audited in the last 6 months, or if the expiration date for an agreement is coming up, sending a notification to the parties saying that this agreement will automatically renew in 60 days unless something is happening, those type of things. So yes, we do consider Leaflet a tool that includes contract management, but our heart is document automation. Our soul, our basis, our foundation is contract or in document automation. And we've just found a way to leverage all of that data and leverage the power of the tool to really hit everything that's within the life cycle of a document. I hope that answers the question. If not, please follow up. I can rant for hours about documents. I actually kind of love documents, cool things.
Okay, thank you for answering that question. It looks like that satisfied that one, at least for now. Let's see, what else do we have? How do you handle document controls with Worldox?
So I think that's a super important question. Many of the companies we work with have very strict document controls and record retention policies. Documents need to only live in one place, and every time you integrate a system, you're risking your document ecosystem spreading out over 5 or 6 different environments, especially with the cloud. Leaflet handles this process very simply. So if I log back in, and then let me just go to the right account, and back to the microsite. Sorry, I'm kind of taking a backdoor to my recent queue. What we can do is either export that document directly to Worldox at any time. So I can grab a workspace and a user and upload that document into the workspace. And we can see our happy document living in Worldox. Or depending on configuration settings, Leaflet can automatically pass documents into Worldox at completion. Now, in many cases with our Worldox users, what they want is documents to only live in Worldox. So they're processed in Leaflet, the automation workflow starts in Leaflet, but the final output only goes to Worldox. We do not retain a copy in Leaflet, and the only way to access that document is to pull it back in with a Worldox import. But again, it's a configurable setting. not again, I haven't said that yet. It's an entirely configurable setting, and it's based on how the user wants to interact with Worldox and what the organizational level of document controls are.
All right, thank you for that. Let's see, we got somebody else asked, where do you get the information to create the language for each contract or agreement?
So that is everywhere. Typically, we start with forms that organizations are already using. So an organization has precedent work. They've been doing deals for years. And Leaflet has two ways of kind of automating that process. Leaflet provides robust training. I've actually gone on site to train some of our customers. It was a really fun experience. We also provide online training to get users started to automate their own agreements. So to take their forms and identify what variables are typically things that need to be put into the questionnaire and what variables fit better in the clause library. Now, Leaflet also has an automation services wing where they will do that same process, except automatically. Leaflet can build the templates for users, can extract clauses and populate a clause library, that sort of process. But to go back to the heart of the question, we also have a new partnership with US Legal Forms. So US Legal Forms is a massive directory of legal forms, 85,000 forms on the platform. And that is a good starting point for organizations that might not have the forms to get started. And then those forms can be automated using the Leaflet platform.
All right, thank you. Let's see, what else do we have? Does Leaflet have any additional integration capabilities beyond document management systems and e-sign?
Absolutely. So Leaflet uses an open API system, and everything that you saw today, every part of the system that existed in the web browser can be exposed via the API. So each individual question, each data field can be transmitted, captured, recorded, pushed, processed through Leaflet's API system. So whatever systems are out there, so things like Clio for matter management, Salesforce, Zoho, any system that uses a database, Leaflet can connect to and process data back and forth. We've also integrated with custom CLM systems. So one of our clients built their own internal CLM system. It's amazing, it's massive, and Leaflet uses the API calls to feed and create questionnaires within that system, to return key term data, and to allow tracking and versioning controls. So again, any system that will integrate with Leaflet, Leaflet will talk back. You know, we're pretty plug and play.
Okay, all right. Just before I check for additional questions, is there anything else that any one of you would like to, to add or maybe expand on what, some of what Justin has covered or anything?
Yeah, I'd like to add something. We've had a long relationship with Worldox, and we work very closely with them. And I think our relationship, Sam, isn't it about 6-7 years now, at least?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, really, really great company to work with, and we work very hard to achieve results for our clients. We want everybody to be happy. So that's one item I wanted to add.
We appreciate it, and we've enjoyed working with you up until now, and we definitely look forward to doing some more with the integration that that is available now, and I hope that we have a lot of interested people taking a look at this and learning some more, and that they can contact you on the contact information you have right on the screen right now. I think it doesn't look like we have too many other questions. A couple that we will answer after the webinar. But so unless either one of you, any of you have anything more to say that I would like to say to the attendees, then I think we will thank everyone and see you next time. And then, as mentioned, we are recording this session, and for anyone who did not have a chance to join us for the live version, take a look at the recordings. And we thank everyone today, both our speakers, Justin, Don, Sam, and all our attendees. And join us again for another session on a Friday coming up. Check our website for what's coming, and have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. Happy Friday, everyone.
Thank you. Same to
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye.
Bye.